What's going on, Epic fam? Welcome, welcome. I'm gonna give it a few minutes. Type in the chat where you're tuning in from. Welcome, Brooklyn. I actually live near Brooklyn. Send this out to everyone. That gold trade did me dirty. Got Georgia in the house. Welcome. Welcome. Alright. Got a few people on. I'll give it some more time for people to hop on. San Antonio, got Texas. All right. Oh, we got a lot more beginners here, but all right. Welcome to Beginner Study Hall. My name is Josh Rosario. I'm your educator for today's class. In this class, we'll be mostly answering questions that you guys have about anything in the Basics 1 and Basics 2 of Epic University. So if you have not gone through Basics 1 and 2, make sure you do go through it. And if you have any questions or anything that you have watched, um, you need more clarification for, this is the class to be in. I will not be talking about anything intermediate. That will be for tomorrow's study hall at 9 p.m. with Coach Max. So, with that being said, if you have questions, the way this class is going to run is if you have questions about anything in Basics 1 and 2, you are to raise your hand and I will call on you. Once I call on you, you will be able to request to unmute so that way you can speak, or you can just simply type your question into the chat once I call on you. All right. So you need to raise your hand in order for me to get to your question. If you don't have your hand raised, I will not answer your question if you put it into the chat. All right. So everybody's in agreement with that. Type of one in the chat if you are okay. You agree with the rules of this class. Perfect. Awesome. The rules is if you have any questions about basics 1 and 2, you are to raise your hand. And once I call on you, you then can answer. You can ask your questions in the chat or request to be unmuted to speak verbally. All right. I will not answer any questions if your hand is not raised and I do not call on you. Okay, so that way this is a smooth class and everybody's questions can get answered. So yeah, if you have any questions, go ahead and raise your hand. The way you do that is, I believe you go to reactions or you go to your participant name and look for the raised hand button. I'm not able to see it on my end because I'm host, but it should be under reactions for you to raise your hand. All right, I'm gonna give it a couple minutes for you guys to go ahead. All right, cool. We got some decent amount of hands up. Please make sure that they are basics 1 and 2 questions only. I will not be talking about intermediate stuff here. Right, let's get to it. As more people come in, just let them know, hey, if you have a question and their hand is not raised, just let them know to raise their hand if they want their questions to be asked, okay? I see your question, Roshan. How can we set the 20 pips in dip? Do you have access to the indicator or no? Roshan? All right. So the way you set it is you go to the FX symbol at the top of your trading view. Right, it would say if you hover over it, it will say indicators and strategies. You click on that, you should have like a pop-up menu right here. It says invite only scripts. And this should have a green lock. If this does not have a green lock, that means you cannot use it. That would mean that you need to contact support so they can unlock it for you. Okay, once you have it, you just click it once and right here, and it shows up on your screen automatically. And that is how you put it on your chart. All right. You can mess with the settings here. Sometimes I like to just get rid of. If I'm on, I need to know which trend I'm in. So if I'm in an uptrend, I only want to see higher highs and higher lows. If I'm in a downtrend, I just check the lower highs and lower lows. Right? Support, resistance. I don't use daily open price. The labels I don't need. Actually, I do need those labels, so that way actually no. And there you go. So resistance, support, you can see as support is the lower lows. These are where your entries would be. Resistance on higher highs is at resistance levels right here. Okay. All right. Any questions, please raise your hand. And when I call on you, you can ask your question. I will not answer your question if you have not have your hand raised and I did not call on you. All right. So, Rashawn, does that question does that answer your question? Let me know. All right, cool, cool. Somebody is writing on my screen. Can you please not write on the screen? Let me get rid of this. All right, next person I'm gonna call on is Charlotte Daniel. Let me know if you'd like to be unmuted or you can action question into the chat. Charlotte Daniel Irving. Unmute. Perfect. You may unmute.
Can you hear me?
Yes,
You can hear me? Okay. Hi, Josh. Hi, everybody. I just want to ask a question or help on the binary, the beginning, like the settings for the, is it the RSI and those different things that, that go at the bottom of the screen, the STOCH, or, can you help me out there?
You said for binary?
Yes, just the setups, like to start, like the beginning.
So this is more for Forex related. You will have to get on a binary session for it. I'm not familiar with binary like that, so I can't really help you in that stuff.
Okay. All right, but thanks anyway.
No worries. All right, next person is Savannah Howard. Let me know if you'd like to be unmuted, or you can put your question into the chat. Are you able to review how to enter signals in MetaTrader? There is a tutorial at the end of Basics 2 that I've created actually that will show you how to enter the signals in MetaTrader 4. Have you seen that video or no? Okay. Yeah, so it's at the very end. So once you get through Basics 2, you'll be able to see how to enter the signals into MetaTrader 4. I also give tips on there on how to take them. All right, no problem. All right, next up is Kenya. Let me know if you'd like to unmute or you can ask a question to the chat. Unmute.
Hi, so my question, well, it's more of advice needing. I'm very new and in between my two jobs, I'm trying to learn how to do the trade, the foreign exchange trade. So my 2-week syllabus is probably going to end up being a little longer than that. And most of the time when I'm doing the training, I'm doing it from my phone or a tablet. And for me, it's been a little difficult trying to navigate on the chart in TraderView, as the setups as is being shown in the trainings and in some of the sessions I'm trying to follow. I think I overall got the concept, like I'm able to identify bullish and bearish, and even some engulfings and such as that. But as far as me marking up the chart, I'm having a hard time trying to figure that out. Any advice that you can give me?
And you said you do this mostly on your phone?
Yeah, mostly on my phone and on the tablet.
Okay. Do you have the TradingView app like downloaded?
I do. I do have it on both devices. Yes.
Okay. And you said your issue is mainly navigating through the menus and stuff like that, correct?
Right. And being able to mark up. I think I'm just still kind of lost in the marking up of the chart. But besides that, like, it seems like I very quickly caught on to trend lines, and I think I'm able to, to know what the support and the resistance is.
Mhm.
I think I'm a little confused I mean, I'm not confused, but it's like I know when you should enter a buy and I know when you should enter a sell. But even with that, I'm like confused as to how do you even activate a buy or a sell, because I think what I did, I ended up losing money calling myself trying to do it during a training class. And I was like, oh, so I was like, okay, let me just come out of it and just try to see if I could gain some more knowledge before I enter in open up another buy or sell. You know what I'm saying? So I think if I would learn how to mark up the chart on my devices and understand what I'm doing, I'll be more successful at going forward.
Okay.
I hope
So
it wasn't a lot. I hope you don't feel overwhelmed with my question.
no. I think I got the gist of how to help you. Do you have? I'm gonna ask you some questions. Do you have a plan as to what to look for when you are marking up your charts? Like, also, do you know what type of trader you want to be? Do you want to be scalping, scalping, intraday, swing trader? Those type of things. Do you know that yet or no?
I believe when I was going through the syllabus and looking at some of the trainings, I immediately identified to a scalper. Um, and because of my availability, the trading sessions I'll mostly be on will be I think is it the London one, the one that starts in the evening and goes into like 2 a.m.?
Asian into London.
The Asian, sorry. There you go. Right. So that one would be the ideal one for me.
Okay. And are you looking at pairs that are active mostly on Asian session?
Yes, I was basically my peers were J JPY, AUD, and I had chosen another one. I wrote it down. But those two were like my main ones.
But it's just currencies though. So what's the actual pair? Is it
So it
AUD,
would be
USD,
yeah, it
AUD?
would be USD, JPY, and AUD, USD.
Okay, cool. Okay, so now we got that covered. So now it's just if let's go into AUD, USD. All right, we're gonna go into TradingView. Now this is gonna be different on your devices, right? Because you have the app, right? But this is like on the website. But pretty much the whole concept of marking up charts is the same. It's just the buttons are, how you say, they are in different places, right?
Yes.
I can't click on my phone right now, but I would show you. But
And then I know like my favorites usually get in
you
my way, so
wanna,
I might have to minimize the favorites and just use the sidebar.
mhm. Yeah, your favorites are probably like hovering over your screen or something, correct?
Yes.
My internet is going in and out. I'm sorry, guys. Um, so when you are marking up your charts, obviously you want to look at your support and resistance. But what I want you to do is I want you to start from the 1 hour since you want to be scalping.
Hmm.
Okay. You're going to start from the 1 hour and then go down to the 15-minute, and you're going to just keep finding support and resistance, right? And more so, you want to look at areas where it is used as support and resistance, not only support and resistance. Make sense?
Right. I was doing that the other day.
All right. So like right here, this was used as a resistance, but then it became support over here.
Mhm.
Right. And that let me know that, okay, it's making, it broke structure and now it's retesting the previous resistance. And that's what prompted me to buy AUD USD during Asian session here
Okay.
earlier. So that's just, that's just one kind of confluence, just a break, retest, and then kind of waiting for it to kind of keep going up. Even without all this stuff here, right? All this graphs and lines and stuff, you can still, be able to take a trade, right? Now, it's also important to know that when you are trading, it's to be patient and wait for the setup to actually go in, because you're always going to start off in a negative, right? Because of commission, because of the brokerage spread, whatever the case may be, is most likely both. So you just kind of have to let the trade play out. As long as you have a stop loss and some targets, my rule is I always like to stick with my stop losses unless I see something different. Because there's always, for me, when it comes to trading, my style, my stop losses are either below or above structure. And if it passes that, then I already know what's the true direction, and I'll just take it in that direction to kind of make up the pips that I've lost from the previous trade.
Okay.
So marking up your charts like, support, resistance, trend lines, making sure you have breaks above like a structure. So obviously identifying whether it's an uptrend or downtrend or consolidating. You don't want to trade during consolidation. You want to wait.
That part I got. That part was pretty easy. I do want to ask you, Josh, retest. When you say retest, that means it entered back under your resistance and then it came back, it broke back through. Is that what that retest means?
So what it means is it broke through a structure, so either a high or low,
Mm-hmm.
and then it comes back to that area and goes in the same
Right.
direction that it broke out. Make sense?
Yes.
So that's what I mean. So right here it broke out, then we tested here, and now we're looking for buys to go past this high. We want this high to be, this will be the next high now, and so we want the candlesticks to go above here to keep going in that direction of the trend that it's been going, which is bullish.
Okay, so if once one recognizes that it's on a bullish trend,
Mhm.
do we enter into the buy shortly after the 50, right? And then we just wait for it to continue to be bullish.
So
And
for
then
the 50 EMA, it's important to know that if it's above the 50 EMA, you're in the right direction. You can enter after it breaks above. See, like right here, it broke above this 50 EMA, retested it with this candle, with this wick here, and you could have took a buy, right? So that's more like a more advanced type of entry, but that's still something that you can do. But as long as you're above the 50 and you see that you're in the uptrend, you're in the right direction, you take buys 9 times out of 10, the trade will go in your way, even if you're in a little bit of a drawdown, which is, you know, in a floating negative on your MT4.
Okay. Okay.
All right.
Thank you so much.
No worries. Good question. Good question. All right. Next person is Kimberly Samuel. Let me know if you'd like to unmute or ask a question to the chat. All right. Let me unmute.
Hey Josh,
How you doing?
I'm good. So how do I add the EMA to my chart?
You go to this FX indicators button right here at the top.
Okay,
Once you click on that, you just want to just search moving
yeah,
average.
it's not letting me click on it for whatever reason.
So when you click on it, it gets added automatically.
Yeah, but I can't even click on the FX. Maybe I need to refresh.
It should be there. You have the time frames showing up and all that?
Yes.
Yeah, it should be there. This doesn't come off at all. So just look for FX right here, and when you hover it over it, it should say indicators and strategies. You click on it,
Mm-hmm.
type in moving average exponential. When you click on it, it'll automatically be added to your indicators list right here at the left, under where it says the pair's name and the time frame right next to it, and the type of broker chart that you're on.
Okay, I see it. And another question. Is there some kind of way I can connect MetaTrader to TradingView?
No, there is no way. No,
There is no way.
no. If you have a broker that can connect to TradingView, then that's possible.
Okay.
But if you don't have a broker, most of the brokers that you need in order to integrate it into TradingView, they're regulated brokers, obviously, and those brokers are kind of, you won't get like, indices, you won't get crypto, you won't get
Gotcha.
commodities, like you won't
Okay.
get stocks, stuff like that. So most of the brokers that we use as traders are, unregulated, because they have more of an array of selection of assets that we can trade. But
Right.
that would be your, that would be
So,
on your
so that
preference.
depends on if the broker will connect to TradingView.
Yeah.
Okay. One last question. So if I have more than one broker, is there a way to connect those together?
You can connect to brokers to your MetaTrader 4, but you can't use them together. You have to use them separately. So you have to log in one. You have to log in one, and then if you want to place a trade on the other broker, you'll have to sign out, then log back in to the other one.
Oh, well, okay.
But you can have multiple brokers listed in your MT4 with the password saved and everything, so it'll be easier for you to flip through
Right.
brokers.
Gotcha. Okay, thanks.
All right, no problem. All right, next person is Kendra. Let me know if you'd like to unmute. If anybody else have any questions, please go ahead, raise your hand. That way, when I call on you, I can share your question. Kendra, let me know if you'd like to be unmuted, or you can put your question to the chat. All right, we'll get back to you then. Next person is S. 4832476. Let me know if you'd like to be unmuted, or you can ask your question to the chat. If anybody else have questions, go ahead, please raise your hand so I can call on you. All right, next person, Vivian. Oh, hold on. Can you give any guidance on which traits to focus on as a beginner? That's going to completely, be completely different from any other beginner. Depends on what your schedule is like, what sessions you're going to trade. So you kind of have to know what that looks like. So a lot of people, they trade a 9 to 5. They work a 9 to 5 and they trade during Asian session because that's the only time they can, right? And so if you're trading on an Asian session, you can only trade, currencies that are active in Asian session, like AUD, NZD, JPY. All right. Vivian, what broker are you using? So you should have AUD USD in the broker. That's a very common. Yeah, I've never heard of that broker. But if it's a Forex broker, you should be able to find it. It's the most common pair to trade. So I'm not sure. Maybe it's in your quotes list and it's like hidden somewhere. You can't really find it because sometimes for me, it's hard to see with the many different pairs that's there. So you kind of have to just look at each individual one instead of trying to skim through it. Maybe it's somewhere there. All right. If anybody has questions, please raise your hand. All right. Next person is Takesha Davis. Let me know if you'd like to be unmuted. So we don't have to trade during the hours of 9 a.m. 2 p.m. to not be charged a fee. What do you mean? You're always charged a commission when you trade on your brokers. That's how the brokers get paid, is by charging you a commission. All right, you're unmuted.
Can you hear me?
Yes, can you?
Okay, because when I was looking at my studying, it says if you are past, I think 2 or 5 p.m., they charge you like a separate fee or something like that.
Yeah, so after 5 p.m., which is when the trading day closes, the brokers charge you a swap fee for holding a trade over. The swap fee can be a negative or positive depending on what type of pair you are trading. So it is recommended that you are out of trades before 5 p.m. if you do not want to get charged a fee, but the fee is not that much. Some people will hold the trade because they feel like they can get more pips by holding the trade a little bit longer. But that's, for me personally, I try to get out of my trades before 5 p.m. because I don't want to be charged the swap fee. All right, no problem. Anybody else have any questions? Please go ahead, raise your hand. If not, this may be a short study hall. All right, Kelly, let me know if you'd like to be unmuted. You can ask your question into the chat. Jory, that is every day at 5, yes. All right, you may unmute, Kelly. Anybody else have any questions? Please raise your hand.
Hello, can I be heard?
Yes, you can. I can hear you, bro.
Okay. Just a quick question. I'm very new to this, like many of us in here.
Okay.
Still learning support, resistance, and things of that nature. So what I gather from it all, entry points are at resistance levels.
Yeah, pretty much.
Or
Resistance
sorry,
level,
support levels.
supports and resistance. Yeah, depending on what direction you're going in. So you want to, if you're selling, you typically want to get an entry at resistance. If you're buying, you typically want to get an entry at support.
Any way we can analyze a particular pair or whatever, just to get some ideas on how to go about it, not as like a idea, well, and not as an idea, but not as like a signal or anything, but just to get the idea as
Yeah.
to.
So for example, for AU here,
Mhm.
this was during Asian session, which was like 2 hours ago.
Right.
We had a resistance here, right? So I identified this was an uptrend, right? That's the first thing you want to do, is identify whether you're in an uptrend or downtrend. So that way you know what direction in the market you want to go in.
Okay,
right?
so you go back further.
Yeah, just a little bit, not too far. You can see pretty clear this is an uptrend, right?
It is.
Right. So that's all you really need. And you want to identify your support and resistance, right? So your support and resistance is usually what?
Like, I guess for here, support, for example, would be around 0.77.
Mm-hmm.
And your resistance would be around, was it? I'm sorry. No, go back down. 0.771. And then your resistance would be somewhere around 0.77600.
Yep, pretty much.
Okay.
These two areas right here.
Now
right?
it broke out and then came back down,
Mm-hmm.
and it's retesting, correct?
Yes, this would be a retest.
But it didn't break through.
Right.
So it popped up and then retraced back to that support level.
Right. So this resistance, once it broke out, it became support. And so what do? We buy at support. So we could have bought here, but by the time we looked at it, it wasn't here. It was around here when we saw it. But given the fact that we already know that this is going to keep going, we took an entry here, and now we are in profit currently. This was a signal that I sent. So we are currently in profit on this signal.
Okay.
Just off the simple break, retest. And for this to keep going, it needs to break above this high that it created after it broke.
Okay, now are we looking for, like, in these I guess consolidations, are we looking for a particular candle pattern to enter on, or are we just looking for the break itself?
So one little tip I can give you guys is that usually when there's a break in structure, it's usually an engulfing candle like this. Like a true break in structure is usually an engulfing candle, right? Now, there are other candlesticks that can help you with getting a better entry or getting you a prime entry. But typically over here in this area where it was retesting and kind of consolidated here a bit, but we had this bullish engulfing right here.
Okay, yeah, I see that.
So you literally could have just taken a trade right after this candle closed and you could have been in profit
But if you missed it, there was another one.
right here.
Yeah.
And this is where we
Okay.
entered at, literally. Right after this candle closed, this is where we entered.
Okay. Now, where are we setting our, once we do enter? Okay, say, let's look at that first bullish engulfing. Okay, say if we enter, right, where are we setting the stop loss?
Right below where it retested.
Okay, so that would be,
So right here. See where
okay.
this red is at?
Mm-hmm.
That's where your stop loss is, which is only 15 pips.
Okay. Now, are we just doing a market execution order, or are we doing a different type of order?
Yeah, pretty much. If you are in the moment of this happening, then yes, you will put a market execution buy. There is a strategy that Epic has, which is called the Master Candle System. It's in your Sniper Academy, which breaks down a particular pending order where you don't have to instantly place a trade. You can just wait for the trade to be activated and get instantly in profit if you do it right.
Okay. Now, and if anybody else, if I'm taking up too much time, please just let me know. I'm, because we all trying to learn this.
No, you good.
But I guess the next question would be, where would our next opportunity be? Because it looks like it's in its run and it's about to get to take profit, number one.
Mhm.
So what do you think the next opportunity for, I guess, a buy or heck, a sell for that matter, because we shorted too, right?
Yeah, you could have shorted it here. I'd be in the buy, but somebody else could have shorted here and still be in profit because they took a buy. They took a sell at a resistance level, right? Now, as far as a next opportunity, I won't know until the market tells me. Right. So there are specific things that I look for in the market personally. So once this breaks above this high, then I'm looking for a retest. And at the retest, I can enter into another buy and hold this trade still for take profit 2 and then take profit 3. But that's a little
Okay.
bit more, that's a little bit more advanced.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, it is what it is. Well, I appreciate it though. I got a better understanding.
Perfect. Awesome. And welcome.
Thank you.
All right. Takesha Davis, let me know if you'd like to be unmuted. How do you know when you're too late to add a trade after? Usually if a trade is in 10 pips and profit, it's too late. So you kind of have to, do the counting. See what the entry was and where a price is currently at. And if it's about 10 pips, you kind of lost the trade. You kind of already missed out. So you just wait for the next trade opportunity. Vivian, let me know if you'd like to be unmuted. What's your question on AUD CAD? I wouldn't enter because the trade has already activated and hit take profit 1 already. No worries. All right, if you have a question, please raise your hand. All right, Nate the Trader, let me know if you'd like to be unmuted. Or you can ask your question to the chat. Quick question from Angela. Yes, a true change in trend is usually by an engulfing candlestick pattern. It's what I've noticed a lot of times. All right, Nate, you can go ahead and unmute yourself.
What's up, brother?
How you doing?
First off, I want to say thank you. You know, you're providing a lot of value on a daily basis towards the team and towards the whole, you know, Epic. And I think a lot of the times real traders don't get the acknowledgement. So I just want to first off and say thank you. Second,
Appreciate that, man. Appreciate it.
yeah, I got you. I just have a question. Like, when it comes to drawing zones, like, what time frame do you usually do it on?
I draw my zones. So I'm mostly a scalper. So I'm drawing my zones on the 1 hour and 15-minute.
Okay.
And I'm using these zones as, you know, entry points or targets,
Right.
depending on
So,
where
and
I'm at where I'm at in the market.
Understood. And I know Coach Max draws, I'm pretty sure she draws her zones based off engulfing candles. Is that how you do it as well?
No, I actually don't. I do them mostly on wicks. So I would most of the time when I find wicks and they all connect, at the top and bottom, I put a zone right through all of them. So kind of like this.
Like, can you explain that too? Like, why you drew that zone right there? Like at the number 2?
This right here. This?
Yeah.
I drew this because of these wicks. See, you see how these wicks are to the downside, and they're just like sitting on this area.
Understood.
That's why I put that zone there. Here, I have wicks to the upside right here, then wicks to the downside, and I have candles sitting here. I have this wick right here. I have this wick. And this zone in particular, I can move this a bit up so I can cover like these wicks. One that you can see is a little bit more accurate. So you have a bunch of candles sitting here, and now we have kind of like a break right now. This is actually about to hit TP2, which is crazy, but
Understood. Well, thank you. I just wanted to see, you know, like how you really draw zones. It was helpful. I appreciate it.
Yeah, for sure. So the zones can be used as support and resistance as well. So I use the boxes mainly just so I can cover the wicks, and now I have a better understanding of where price can go to. So that's mainly what I use zones for. So, but usually when you extend them, you can see how they react as well. So like here they reacted, over here they reacted. So looking left is really going to help you guys know whether your zones are correct in a sense. All right, so appreciate you, Nate, for the acknowledgement, man. Next person is Junior France. Let me know if you'd like to be unmuted. All right, go ahead and unmute.
Hey, Josh, going back to the AUD USD chart that you just had, and the young lady asked about the getting into the trade, and I noticed you had that set up on a trap. Couldn't she wait till it pull back to the 50 or the 23% to get back in that trade, or do you think it will pull back to that 50 or 23%?
If it breaks above here, I don't think it's going to come back.
All right, so if it does break above that, you don't look forward to coming back either.
Yeah, right. I don't look for it to come back. It's possible, but the master candle system is a momentum type of strategy where if you miss the entry, you miss the entry, right? You just have to find a new one because it's going to keep going afterwards, because the master candle and the engulfing candles are what's providing the momentum that the pair needs to keep going in that direction. So this is a master candle setup here, but when I took this trade, I wasn't looking at that. I was looking at this engulfing candle, and we entered here.
Okay.
This just so happens it printed a master candle, and that just gave me it was just more further confluence that this is going to keep going.
All right, then. All right. Appreciate it, man.
Yeah, for sure. No worries. All right. Anybody have any other questions before? So go ahead and raise your hand if you have any other questions. All right, Kenya, go ahead. All right. Go ahead on mute.
So I just wanted to confirm while I was just looking and listening to you explain, that when entering any buy, or if the opposite, if you're selling, is it best advised that we wait until the candlestick has been confirmed? Like, is it like either we look for a wick and then we enter it then, or in other words, don't enter any trade while the candle is still moving, correct?
Correct. You want to wait for the candle to close to give you
Okay.
the appropriate candlestick pattern, because think about it, like if a candle is still moving, it hasn't decided what kind of pattern it wants to print on the chart, right? So this particular candle right now, it could be a bullish engulfing, but we don't know that yet. Or it can be a doji, or it can be
Right, because
any
of
other
its
pair,
wicks.
right? It could be anything, right? But until this candle closes in 9 minutes and 30 seconds, we won't know what decision we make afterwards, whether we wait for the next candle to close or we actually take the buy or take the sell, depending on what that candle did.
Okay. Thank you.
No problem. All right. Anybody else have any questions? Go ahead, raise your hand. You can raise your hand by going to the reactions. There should be an option there for you to raise your hand. All right, Lindsay Brent, let me know if you like to be unmuted, or you can ask a question to the chat. All right, you may unmute.
Hey, how are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm good. I don't know if this is a crazy question or not, but why don't you have like the indicators on here? You know what I mean? Like the Scholastic oscillator and like MACD and all and the Kettner channel and all that. Why don't you have that on here?
For me, I like to go off price action. So price action can be is in the form of candlestick patterns. A lot of times the indicators are lagged, and so by the time it tells me that it's ready to buy, I could have gone in, candles before that, right? So I don't like using those type of indicators just off that reason alone, is because they lag, and I like to get the most precise entry as possible. So by looking at candlestick patterns, those are the ultimate indicator for you to take trades.
Is that like should beginners do that too, or is that more of an intermediate advanced type of way to trade?
With candlesticks?
Like without the indicators?
All beginners should start off with no indicators, actually. If you want to add indicators later on, then that could kind of help you with let's say like with the MACD, right? Because that's more of a momentum based type of indicator. Like they are good to help you stay in a trade, if that makes sense. So you get an entry with a candlestick pattern, and if the MACD is still going up, or whatever rules there is to the MACD, that can probably allow you to keep holding the trade because you know the MACD is telling you, okay, this is still buying, this is still selling.
I gotcha. Okay, that makes sense.
All right,
Thanks.
no worries. All right. Anybody else have any other questions? Go ahead and raise your hand. This is why I like to keep my stop losses, because if we would have been right back. Well, we still would have been in a little bit of a drawdown on gold, but came and rejected right off the zone that I had. All right, nobody has any more questions? If for some reason you can't raise your hand, I will give you permission to type it in the chat now. So when getting TP1 has been hit, when do you know to move stop loss? When TP1 is hit, move your stop loss to break even. And it looks like AUD USD just hit TP1. Sort of. It hasn't quite yet hit it, but no, just leave gold alone. Because what also I'm looking at for gold is it's under the 50 EMA, which I should be selling. So I if anything, I would like for it to come back to where our entry was for me to actually buy it. All right, Dina, let me know if you'd like to be unmuted. You can ask your question into the chat. Price action is candlestick patterns, projections, literally what it sounds like. Whatever action that is taking place at a specific price. So this is the price. This I see price action is these wicks to the downside. I have a couple candles kind of consolidating. I have a couple candle bodies consolidating at this area at a support. That's price action. So literally explaining what actions are being taking place at a specific price. If you are able to verbally say that and actually explain, like not talking to yourself, but like thinking to yourself, okay, this is what's happening, that's price action. You're literally observing what's happening at price. All right, anybody have any other questions? TP1 has been hit on AUD USD. All right. All right, so that's going to be our time for today, guys. I appreciate y'all for hopping